Hey guys, Maria Menounos here. Hope you tune into my show, Untold with Maria Menounos, this Thursday night at 8 on E!
You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akaman. Now, let the buzz begin!
That was a while ago. Yeah, that was before you got invited.
I didn't get no invite.
We're live. We can do the show now.
Okay. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The Ultimate Fighter on AFTERBUZZ TV. My name is Daria Berenato, and I'm here with my boys tonight, Mr. George Hermoza and Mr. J Tan. Hi, guys.
I'm the second guy. Hey.
And I have a name.
She said your name.
I said your name.
Dummy.
No, I know, but I'm talking to the YouTube guy. Anyways.
Oh. I know what he's talking about.
Now I do too. Yeah, I got it now.
Okay, so guys, tonight we're going to recap The Ultimate Fighter episode 9. Let me just say, in the beginning when we were talking about there not being enough drama on this show,
yeah,
I take that back. I regret saying it because there is an overload of drama now.
They kind of fitting it now into like 2 episodes. Yes, last week and this week with Team Pettis. Who knew?
I mean, this whole time I'm thinking to myself, where is this Felice Herrig that everybody's always been talking about, that being a bitch and being
the feisty one?
Yeah, I'm like, where is that girl? She's like on her best behavior.
Right.
All that went out the window this episode.
Well, I never heard that Felice Herrig was a bitch or anything like that, but I was
not on the show, but like her reputation.
Her reputation was that she was like
she's
feisty
boisterous
and
crazy,
and
yeah,
kind of like scandalous and stuff like that. But she honestly came across as a bitch on this episode. And I, check my wording. I say came across as a bitch on this episode. Felice Herrig, I'm not saying you're a bitch in real life. I know how reality TV can distort things sometimes. So when I talk about but that being said,
y'all were acting like some bitches.
I mean, I was sitting next to Jay while watching this because George was in a different show. And I was cringing at just the bullying mentality that I felt was going on.
Yeah, let me just go on record. Anybody out there that's fans of I mean, if you're watching us, then you're clearly fans, I think, of AfterBuzz in general. If you are so lucky to ever get a shot to host on a show here at the studio, try to get on with this lady here. Watch a reality show with her. My arm's kind of bruised from all the punching to the side, and I wasn't even on the show, okay? And constant grabbing and this and that, and you were talking as much in the show as they were. You were screaming at the TV. You might as well have been one of the cast members.
I might as well have been. I was
Apparently, thank God I missed it.
Yeah, right.
Because my arms are feeling good.
I would have made sure I hit both of you equally. No, but I was getting upset. You know what? I was reacting as the producers and people behind the show, wanted me to act.
Yep.
I was really getting into it, and I'm guilty of that.
I'm gonna say
reality TV pulled me in.
The show is getting chunky now, and
chunky.
This is chunky. I'm just coining this
You're
now for
fat,
reality.
The Ultimate Fighter.
It's juicy and full of that good stuff. It's chunky. It's meaty. Now we got some stuff we can talk about.
I really want a burger now.
Well, we've only got 47 minutes left, so you just hold your horses there.
You're describing a burger. But, yeah, I mean...
And by the way, there was beef in that burger of 60 minutes of Ultimate Fighter. See how I bring it back to bacon?
Bring it back to bacon.
Boom, check me out.
Another unintended pun, beef, bacon. Okay.
Yeah.
George, what'd you think of all the beef?
Oh, man, I was just as upset as you. I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, you girls are making the scrapettes look like angels right now.
Right. Now, I didn't get to watch it with you, so I'm so curious as to what you think. Like, were you, Team Herrig and Carla? Like, oh my God, Randa, you're being so annoying.
Initially, I was. I mean, when I say initially, I mean before this episode.
Thank God.
I mean, Felice. I mean, she's in my eyes, I think she's a good-looking chick. Kind of want her to go ahead, and plus, she kind of does have that brash personality. I'm like, I wonder what she can do. I need to see more of her as far as her personality and whatnot. So I'm like, yeah, I was rooting for her to win. That all changed within like 15 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
It was just so like, oh my God, like really? Like you girls can't be that bad.
I mean, they're 29 and 28 years old. I mean, I think Randa's 28 and Felice Herrig is 29 years old. Is this the normal?
This set.
I mean, I'm not there yet, but is that the normal behavior?
This sets women's MMA back by 50 years. The sport's only been around the U.S. for 21.
And I mean, and it's funny because like we look at Carla Esparza so highly as well. I'm like, man, she wasn't doing herself any favors either.
No, she wasn't. I mean, I get having feuds with, you know, living in a house of females. I get it. It's hard. I would never want to do it. You know, especially sharing bunk beds, sharing rooms, sharing toilets. I would do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it. Hell yeah, I would want to do it. I take that back. But it would be hard, is what I'm saying. There would be roughs. You know, there would be waves. But to gang up on a girl, I mean, when you're at the weigh-in, the face-off, and you have, okay, the popping the bubble, to fill you guys in if you didn't see it, Felice Herrig blew a bubble at the face-off in
at the weigh-ins.
Yeah, well, yeah, when they were facing off, though. In Randa Markos's face. Like, the bubble was almost touching her nose.
Yeah, centimeter to centimeter.
Randa Markos popped the bubble without hitting her in the face, thank God. And
good targeting there, Randa.
Very good. They mentioned that on Tough Talk. Very good targeting. And then Carla and a few other girls in the stands, I think maybe Jessica Penny, were laughing. Like, they thought it was hilarious. And then she brought up something from a discussion earlier in the van where Randa Markos was in a feud with Carla.
Randa or Carla were arguing.
Well, the whole thing was like, obviously, Pettis won completely outclassed and outfought Belinda, so they were 7-1. So obviously, with that said, teammates versus teammates. So it's kind of like, and now I'm asking you as a female, not just a female, but professional fighter, would you want to train against somebody or with somebody who you're fighting?
I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Randa Markos' mentality.
I don't give a shit.
I'm here to fight for myself. So if they want to watch me train, I don't care.
Listen, when you're at this point, I mean, these girls have, most of these girls, I shouldn't say all of them, have fought in Invicta, have fought in, you know, all these other organizations. There's footage of them on YouTube. Yeah. I mean, they've probably cross-trained with each other in the past years, at least some of them. Mm-hmm. They're not new to training next to one another. It's not like, oh my God, Daria has good leg kicks. I didn't know till now. You knew. You guys have been training together. And yeah, I could see, the only thing I could see is injuries. Like, say, for example, you know, Randa Markos had, you know, a hurt leg. Mm-hmm. And somehow through training together, Felice Herrig figured that out. Mm-hmm. And then she went for her leg the whole time. You know, leg kicks or something. That could be a little disadvantage. But
even then, by the way, you're living in the same house. Of course you know each other's injuries. You're seeing each other as you're resting, icing up or in the hot bath, whatever.
I mean, I get where Carla's coming from. I'm not saying that she's wrong about it, and by no means. But
I am. I'll go on record.
No, I'm saying, like I said, I'm not saying that she's wrong. Like she has a point. Mm-hmm. Whether I agree with it or I disagree with it, that's another story. I'm just saying she has a point. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want to see somebody maybe check out your strategy, whatever. I get it. But just the whole behavior, I mean, that's completely different than actual competitive training.
It got into cattiness. You know, I don't think that we've come to expect from the other side.
This is what bothered me. In the past Ultimate Fighter seasons, I'm totally okay with, oh, I hate you, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. But what I have a real issue with, and it really gets to me deep down inside, is when you're fighting with her and then 3 other of the peanut gallery are chiming in, sticking up for one person. Yeah. It's okay if there's 2 peanut galleries and you know, team versus team and you guys are fighting. That's cool. That's normal with girls. But when it's one girl and the 3 of you are sitting there laughing, making jokes, mean jokes, snarky jokes, to the point where they were like, they made a patty cake about
the line was, don't talk to me.
Don't talk.
I think that was the name of the episode even.
Let me just fill them in. When they were in the van, meaning Randa, Felice Herrig, and Carla Esparza.
On the way to training.
That Randa Markos wasn't supposed to be at because they separated their training schedules, which was dumb in my opinion.
Because Randa and Felice were fighting each other, and it was getting to the point now, as we talked about earlier, 7 Team Pettis fighters in the semifinals, and only 1 Team Melendez. So now we have this influx of Pettis versus Pettis matches. So the Team Pettis essentially split crews and are training at different times.
They took a vote at this meeting. I think Tisha Torres and a couple other girls said, no, I want to keep the training all together. So we get 2-a-days. You know, when you're getting ready for a fight, you want 2-a-days. You want maybe some cardio in the morning and then some grappling, or vice versa, some stand-up and then some grappling and some cardio, whatever. You want 2-a-days. So I think the smartest vote was, keep it how it is. But regardless, Team Pettis kind of won, and they split up the practices. Randa Markos boycotted that and vetoed that and said, no, I'm going to go train. Even if I'm not training with you, I'm going to go outside and do some sprints, do some, S&C, whatever it be. And
S&C. Drop that lingo. Come on.
Sorry, strength and conditioning.
There you go.
And I just see it so much used. Anyway, so she jumps in the van.
I'm thinking like S&C, E-S-S-E-N. So I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I'm trying to go into my mental dictionary. I'm like, oh my God, look it up.
This is why you tune in to learn from us.
E-S-S-E-N.
I don't know if that's something to learn from. Sorry, guys. Something to refrain from. But anyway, so she's in the van, and they're starting crap with her, like, why are you coming to our practice, whatever. And she said, shut up, don't talk to me.
Yeah, just worry about yourself. Don't talk to me.
Which is valid. Like, if I were her, I'm not really confrontational either. I don't want the drama either. Just shut up, don't talk to me. I'm in the van, I'm going to practice.
Yeah, but that was breaking the protocol that they had previously in the so-called team meeting.
But it's funny because...
So I get that, and I don't think it was necessarily the sharpest comeback.
And it's funny because based on his opinion or based on what he appeared, it looked like Anthony Pettis didn't even agree with that. He was the one saying, "Well, it's their fight. They're not teammates. They're against each other. So it shouldn't matter. They're all Team Pettis to begin with."
His last words were, "You girls take care of the schedule," is what he said.
Yeah.
So he approved them changing it. So as far as everyone knew, yes, it was changed. Yes, the teams were separate. Now, if I were Randa Markos, I would have just said back to them, "I'm going to the gym, but I'm not training with you guys." That would have probably stopped some of the drama.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
If she would have just clarified why she was in the van.
Things probably could have been handled better on both sides.
But I don't think she has to really, justify herself.
She doesn't have to explain herself.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where, I get it. You want to say certain things to get your point across. That's fine. But all that other cattiness, was that really necessary? No, it's not. And that would make them a biatch.
No, it's not. And yet, yes, it is. Because this TV show, one, hasn't had the drama that we wanted on it yet. Two, it's a reality show, so therefore, it's to deliver the drama.
Yeah.
And my own opinion, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of that was actually set up by the producers or even, frankly, agreed upon between all the cast members, saying we got to do something fun for this episode,
I'm a sucker. I'm gullible. I'm thinking this is real drama here.
It was good. You know what? If nothing else, it was captivating, dramatic TV that a reality show, I think that we've been waiting on. And we've got a good, decent dose from the whole Heather versus Magana
I just don't like
drama thing.
I don't like the reoccurring theme of
bullying.
The cool girls.
Yeah.
And then they pick a new victim every week.
It did kind of feel like, this is the cool crowd now. The experience. You got the Invicta champion, her crew.
Yeah.
And you had the one girl, she never really had a crew to begin with. She just kind of was there. And now it's like, well, it's her turn now to get picked.
I see Randa Markos, and I look at all the girls, and one thing I take from this show is you really get just a little piece inside of how they prepare for fights, how they think emotionally before fights, and it's interesting, especially me as a female fighter, to see, some of the girls seem to get nervous before their fights, and they turn into head cases in turn. I'm going to put this out there, and I think it was pretty prevalent on the show through all the episodes. Felice Herrig's kind of a head case before her fights. I mean, whether it's nerves or anxiety or being away from her coaches and trainers.
She admitted to herself.
Yeah, she
wears her heart
on
on her sleeve quite a bit.
She does, and that could have been why she got so mean and emotional in this last episode.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. I get it. But once again, all the other girls teaming up.
Especially
I don't
Carla.
like that.
I'm
And then
kinda
Jessica
disappointed
Penny chimed in too. I don't know if she's just hopping on that bandwagon, that SoCal bandwagon. Carla Esparza and her,
Well,
it's funny because I was that guy looking way too much into maybe a certain situation, or maybe I wasn't. But during the weigh-ins, when everybody, when Randa came up, the only person that wasn't clapping, Carla Esparza. And I was like, oh, come on. Like you're the only one not clapping. Maybe there's something wrong with you,
Yeah. Oh, God, it annoys me.
The thing that also is resonant with me that I kind of wonder about, this is season 20 of the show. It's not like they haven't seen many of the past seasons. We've had this scenario before, and I think that they've had their matches. They know that this is a team sport up to a certain point, and we've hashed this topic to death in the past.
Right.
But yet it still comes up on the show, on the reality show. And, at a certain point, they they go into this whole thing knowing what can happen in
Right.
terms of ending up fighting your teammates.
Right.
So that's why I think that there's a certain bit of work and fabrication going on in here, you know, to amplify and ante up some reason for you to really tune in, because otherwise you're just cutting to the last 15 minutes and seeing the match and finding out who goes forward. And I think also it is kind of interesting in a bad way, unfortunately, that this dynamic, as you mentioned, is so much the cool kids versus the rejects or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the outsiders. I mean, that's a stereotype of how women work, but
people in general.
where there's smoke, there's fire, right? That
Right.
does kind of happen. In the past, we've seen. I know that there's been, you know, bullying or gang up scenarios. A lot of times in previous seasons of Tough is what I'm saying. A lot of times that will start with one guy that's drinking too much and it's acting crazy, and a couple of guys have his back and try to be in his corner, but then everybody else just doesn't want to put up with his shit in the house, and you know things escalate. You know, I'm
Right.
trying to think who's the guy. What's that famous? Let me bang, bro. Let me bang, bro. A couple 5 seasons ago, I'm guessing. The name escapes me.
If you know it, comment it on the YouTube link.
Or just call us at 424 something 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 something
I'm
something.
looking for the phone number here listed. Yeah,
I'm waiting for it to scroll in front of our
424-256-1633.
screen.
424.
256-1633.
Maybe your coach knows.
You heard it.
I know he's
Yeah,
watching.
Coach James, you're watching. Maybe you know. What was the question again?
Who was the one that said, "Let me bang, bro"?
Oh,
Yeah,
He
name
doesn't
the
know.
fighter, name the season.
He doesn't watch
if
all
it only
that.
comes up on somebody on YouTube. Once again,
You win a
T-shirt
high five.
offer
Don't
there.
promise another T-shirt.
No, you know what? I'm going to up the antes. It won't be an AfterBuzz T-shirt necessarily, but it could be a University of MMA T-shirt with some University of MMA stickers.
Just be on the show and you'll get a free
MMA
one.
hitting the sticker game, son.
Boom! Sticker game, son. I have them all over my laptop, son, because of this guy. All right. So where do you see the drama going from here? Do you think? I mean, come on.
Well, the drama went to a match.
Let's get to the results.
We should get to that part.
Before we start talking about next week. So
Like, and going into the fight though, who did you think was gonna win the fight? Did you think that?
Randa Markos.
No, but did you think it was gonna go 3 rounds? Do you think it was gonna end quick? Was it gonna
No,
be
I thought it was
submission?
going to be submission finish Randa Markos.
In the first
Did you
round?
really?
Maybe not first round, but like second round. Yeah, I
Okay.
thought Randa Markos is known for her wrestling and her jiu-jitsu, her submission game. Felice Herrig had never been submitted prior to this fight, so I knew it was, going to be difficult. But Randa Markos, dude, she's the little engine that could. She's the little train that kept going.
Yeah.
She showed us, in the first episode, she beat the number 3 seed, Tisha Torres. I knew she had it in her.
Yeah.
And like I said to Jay when we were watching it earlier, she is one of the mentally toughest girls in this house. And that is going to take her so far in this sport.
What about you?
I expected 2 rounds decision, Randa winning.
Okay.
What about you?
I thought Felice was gonna win
Why?
because I didn't know Randa Markos that well.
I love the honesty.
And you also like the panty thing,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I thought I would have kept going.
Oh, you had
But-
more. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You had more reasons why you thought?
Oh no, I'm just saying, just kind of going into it, it just looked like Felice was more of the personality. I thought they were gonna maybe push, maybe because they were pushing that a little bit more,
Okay.
kind of foreshadowing future episodes on things like that. You know, you don't really see Randa Markos that much throughout the season since the first episode.
Right.
So, I mean, again, it's me looking at way too much into the situation, especially because obviously all the episodes are already taped. So it's just kind of like, oh well, they're showing a little bit more Felice maybe because,
She wins
it's like when
and
you watch
goes
the
on.
American Idol auditions. It's like obviously the people that are spotlighted more are probably going to move on. you
Right.
know?
That's a good
So
point.
that's kind of had that mentality. So I was like, oh, I thought Felice was going to win, just mostly because of that, but a little bit because I just thought she was maybe a better striker and whatnot. You know,
Right.
more
Well.
emotional maybe, but maybe that hurt her. Maybe the fact that she was emotional probably hurt her
I
game. So who
absolutely
knows?
think it did. I think Felice Herrig is a really tough girl. I think she's really strong, and I think she has a good stand-up. I think she's a good fighter all around,
course.
and she's very experienced. Her record 9-5, so she's definitely 9-4, 9-5, something like that. She's been around for a while, and she's a tough girl. But there's just that something in Randa Marcos' eyes that just it connects with me, and I just feel like she's strong.
She's strong and very focused. I don't think she suffers fools at all.
No, I don't think.
She really, she was giving it to Carla in the show, and then afterwards, tough talk. She was giving her no. She was the aggressor verbally.
Definitely
giving her no room whatsoever.
Karen Bryan had to cut in there and say, "Okay, hold on, Randa. Let's get Carla's opinion." But to dive into the match, Felice Herrig versus Randa Markos. Randa Markos won first round, early in the first round, via armbar. Now, if you guys didn't see it, try and go check out the episode, whether it's on your DVR or you check it out when it comes on Fight Pass. But Randa Markos attempted to toss Felice Herrig over her back, is what it looked like to me, or like a hip toss.
Yeah.
And she kind of failed, and Felice got her back on the way down, but she landed in an awesome like head and arm choke position.
Right. She was able to kind of tip her body to get Felice off of her.
Right. Felice couldn't completely get her back because her head and her arm was trapped underneath of Randa Markos.
Yeah.
So I thought she was going for the head and arm, obviously.
Right.
All of a sudden, Felice tapped. I was like, oh, she must have got the head and arm. I didn't see on the other side of the screen, she was arm barring Felice with her legs.
She had wrapped her legs around Felice's right arm, and stretched it out. It looked like it was in pretty bad position, and Felice tapped from that. It started out quite competitively, though. I think in the beginning, I think it probably went. I don't have the time here. It was probably like 2 or 3 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah. I think.
Yeah, but they started out clinching. I'm sorry. They came out. They both really started swinging right away.
Randa landed a 1-2 perfectly on Felice's face.
Yeah, and they got into a clinch pretty fast. But Felice was dropping a couple of good elbows. She was swinging from the side. A lot of scrambling. It looked like they were going for position against the cage. Ended up scrambling kind of in wizard position, wrestling wizard position.
Yeah, they were just
side by side
up against the cage for a long time, working for that under position. Randa Markos was doing a good job of keeping her head underneath the chin of Felice Herrig to control her against the cage. But it was going back and forth, switching control off the cage.
Yeah, both sides looked good, at least up until that point when it finally did go to the ground in that
definitely. Randa Markos went for a couple, not full, she didn't shoot him for a takedown, but takedowns off the cage that she wasn't successful with. Felice Herrig did a good job of keeping her balance and staying up there. The one time they went to the ground before the time of the finish, Felice Herrig actually got dominant position from the takedown. She landed on top, and then it immediately stood back up to the feet. But great fight from both the girls. Felice Herrig striking looked good as always. Her dirty boxing in the clinch looked amazing. What do you think, George?
I agree. I mean, I was kind of curious. They fight the winner, or she fights the winner of JoJo and Rose?
Yes. Randa goes forward, and on the same bracket, or the same side of the bracket is...
Sorry, Randa, but you're done. Oh! There's no way she's going to beat JoJo or Rose.
And then next week we have Aisling Daly and Jessica Penne. I think after that, I'm not quite sure if it goes back and forth, but at some point we'll see Carla.
I will say this, going back to earlier to some of the drama, when they showed JoJo, again, soft-spoken. And I saw like a video thing with her, I just kind of YouTubed her one night because I was lonely.
I bet you did.
But they just kind of showed her training and whatnot, and she just said, she's like, you don't need to be loud to be heard. I mean, that's just kind of her mentality as far as just in everything in general. She's not a yeller. She's not going to name call you, just kind of saying, even going back to the last episode where everybody was booing. And of course, JoJo called out, I was like, why is everybody booing? That's disrespectful. We're professionals, you know?
Right.
This, even today, she's like, I don't get why they're ganging up on her. Like, come on, like, who do you...
Unfortunately...
What kind of character does that show from you guys, you know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, it has its place in the sport, for better or for worse. And it's ironic because this is coming from two guys that are lifetime pro wrestling heads. You know,
trash talking one thing, but the whole ganging up on thing, that's a little bit.
There's a big difference between trash talk and bullying. I mean, I can sit here if I'm fighting, you know.
Yeah, one versus a gang versus one.
Because even dating back to, was it last week, the week before, when Angela Magana and Heather Jo Clark, and it was kind of like when somebody says. Or was it Angela or the other one? Oh, Beck Rawlings' defense was like, what do you think about the bullying? Well, it's like somebody saying, well, why don't you pick it on somebody your own size? Well, she is. So is that still bullying? You know what I mean? That was her defense. I don't really see that's bullying. And now that you kind of see what happened on this episode, it's kind of like, oh, maybe she was right. You know, it's one thing to gang up on someone, but it's another thing to not gang up on someone. So it's like...
There's an argument for that, but in every fight is a fight. It's dirty, it's low down, and there aren't rules to it.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, when Felice was saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna break your face, I'm gonna make you tap out," like that's one thing. Like that's okay.
Right.
That's cool. You know, I'm not that's
Yeah,
fighting.
I'm game with that.
That's fighting. You know. I mean, look at Ronda Rousey who wants to kill Cyborg.
It was the petty like. I'm gonna make a patty cake joke.
Yeah, the patty cake. When the patty cake over, like that did it. I'm like, oh, come on.
The worst, it made me like get a little teary-eyed. Actually, I'm just a sucker for this stuff. But they're in the van, and Miranda Markos is sitting in the back seat by herself, and then Felice and Carla are sitting in the seat in front of her.
That was when they come back from commercial, right?
Yeah, and they're going, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, and they're going on, and it went on for like 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know how long it went on in real life, but it went on for so long, and it's like. That poor girl's in the van by herself. No one's sticking up for her, which, guys, if you think something wrong is going on, say something. I mean, you're all fighters. You're all strong, independent women. Who I don't know whoever was in the back of that van.
But again, it did kind of seem like that cool kid mentality. Oh, I don't want to talk smack to the cool kids, you know? It's like, it kind of made it even worse,
well,
you know?
I'm sure in that scenario, you don't want to let your emotions get away run away from you.
Right.
And especially Randa, who is trying to keep a focused, targeted eye line on, eyes on the prize, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me that you just kind of tune out all this crap. But I will say that it does, this cattiness that we saw there's good and bad to it.
Well, that's what I'm.
And that's the problem. The good is that now there's something for us to talk about, and we're spending, God knows how much time on it, and we're going to continue to do so because. That was the episode.
That's our job.
I'm kind of curious how much of that anger that Ronda had actually played a factor in her game, or if it did.
Randa, you mean?
Randa, or if it just did not affect her at all.
See,
I'm kind of curious.
I think
no matter what they say,
laser vision on the prize.
You think it didn't affect her at all?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Motivated.
I just think she's so freaking motivated. I think she's so determined. That gave her a little edge, but it didn't deter her. It didn't make it didn't make her dramatic. It didn't make her emotional. It just gave her a little edge.
It fuels the fire.
A little bit. Not too much though. She didn't seem like I've seen fights where people are angry when they go into them, and the first thing they do is brawl. Like, I want to hit you, so they just go in there and they force the hit. When it's like, dude, it's still a fight. You still got to respect their skill, Randa didn't do that. She went in there.
You got to think with Felice, the bubblegum thing, with the name calling. You got to think how maybe she'd be a lot better if she didn't do that. Maybe if she had that laser. Maybe that's what Felice Herrig is missing. That laser focus that other people have. Who knows?
I mean, if you want to go with the theory that you can't have it all, I mean, some girls have the personality and the sellability, and then some girls have the heart and the drive, and then other girls have the athleticism and the skill.
But they're rare that have both. I mean, that's someone special.
It's killer. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why she's the champ.
But this is what I was going to say. I'm torn in between because I love seeing women's MMA on this platform, and all I want is for these women every week to make a great example of what we do and how hard we work, and how far we've come. And I get that there needs to be drama to do that, and I get that we also need to have fun, and it's a show at the end of the day. It's publicity, and you got to make a name for yourself, and you got to sell yourself. So I'm torn. Part of me says, "Good job, you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing on the show," and then the other part of me says, "Oh, it makes us look bad."
That's the thing. I'm torn, although I think that probably it doesn't make women's MMA look good, in this. But that said, it's one episode,
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to go back and say that I wouldn't put it past that, especially Felice is smart enough to know what to do when the cameras are on her.
Absolutely.
And perhaps to an extent Carla as well. If nothing else, most likely taking notes from Felice. Knowing that when the cameras are on and there's a role that you have to play, whatever scene it is, and it's not like you have to, there's a storyline or a continuity that you have to keep on with, you amplify it a little bit to get yourself over, to become memorable with the people that are tuning in and watching this thing. And I wouldn't put it past those two or many other girls there that a lot of it was amplified.
Like I said, I'm not judging them for doing so. I'm very torn on what it should be. I'm not the judge of that, but I get it. You go on the show and it's a boring season, and then people like us sit here every week and say, "Oh, it's boring. Where's the drama?" And then we get the drama, and we're like, "What are you doing? You're making a bad name for women's MMA." I mean, they can't win. They can't win in people's eyes like ours. So I don't hate it. I get it.
Do you think that this will have that much of an effect on women's MMA? People taking it seriously?
Well, it depends. I mean, you have a lot of guys, I shouldn't say just guys, but you have a lot of people out there that see stuff like this and they're like, oh my God, these stupid, girls,
this is what chicks do.
This is what girls do. Yeah. This is women fighting. But then there's people that are smart and actually look at the fighting and look at the fights and the training and the hard work they're putting in. And the girls like Markos, who stays motivated all along, and all the girls, and say, okay, these girls are good fighters. Yeah, they might have a little drama, but they're still good fighters. They could also say, I could also say that about Chris Lieben's season, the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, and say these guys are idiots. They're getting wasted the night before their UFC fight, where they're competing for a UFC contract to change their lives, and this one's crying about feeding his mom, and this one's crying about feeding his kids. Yet they're drinking the night before their fight. Yeah. So I could say the same thing about other seasons with all males. So,
like you said, it's kind of, I think it goes both ways, because the fact that it's labeled as a reality show. So it's either, oh, these girls are bitches, or these girls are fake because the camera's
or boring,
on. You know
or they're boring.
Yeah, so it does kind of go both ways, unfortunately, and that's just with everything. With the way
it's a double-edged sword.
Oh, well, are they bitches or are they fake? Are they bitches or are they fake? Or is it because the camera's there? It's like, oh, well, just because it's that reality show, I don't think it's going to hurt women's MMA.
I don't think so. I don't think
so, because it's just one season.
There's been Fight Girls. You ever watched their Fight Girls?
To be honest with you,
same thing.
Because to be honest with you, I don't know if it's the fact that I'm losing my memory, but I don't remember much from the Rousey Tate season. I mean, if I really think about it, if I really think about it,
there was some stupid drama.
Yeah, but it's like it doesn't stick out to me.
Right.
It doesn't like, oh my God. Well, remember that one episode of the Rousey Tate season? It's like,
but
in about 6 months, it's just going to be one episode.
I agree, but it did kind of form the public opinion of not necessarily the people on the show, but Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate. It did in my mind. I mean, because now I remember, Miesha Tate drew mustaches on the Ronda Rousey pictures. That's kind of retarded. And then I remember, Ronda doing things too, and it was just like, okay, it gave me a little picture of who those two were, a little closely, a little closer than I would normally see, in their fights or whatever.
Because like you said, and nothing against her, but Ronda kind of came across as a kind of a bitch. She's not, but
Miesha Tate kind of came across a little immature.
Yeah.
Like really immature.
Yeah.
Drawing mustaches on faces. And making her look like Edmund, her coach.
Yeah. It's all a mixed bag. Yeah. We see it with men. We see it with women.
At the end of the day, girls, you're performing physically, and that's all that matters to me. I hope that's all that matters to a lot of the fans watching the show.
And that's what I think stuck about Randa, that she was, you know what? This is just about me. Yeah. Yes, we're part of a team, but you know what? It's a sport. It's an individual competition.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're not going to have a co-champion. Right. It's one champion. That's going to be brand new in the UFC. So you're going to stick out. You're going to be the first ever. Was it strawweight?
Yes,
strawweight women's champion.
Yeah.
So I mean, I go with Randa. It's like, dude, let her do her thing. If she wants to train with people, let her train with people. It's about her, not anyone else. It's about her.
Let me ask you guys this. So I remember I brought it up a couple episodes ago that Carla Esparza and Felice Herrig were such good friends, and it really hit me this episode because Carla Esparza used the word best friend. My best friend, Felice Herrig. So, I mean, I talked about it before. If they had to fight each other, it's probably going to happen one day. Carla Esparza is working her way to the top. She might be the champ. Who knows? If not, she's definitely a top 10 competitor. Felice Herrig's ranked number 6. I saw some rankings the other day on like Sherdog and all that stuff. I think she was like ranked number 5 in the strawweight division. Yeah. She's ranked high. So if Dana White or Sean Shelby says one day, Felice and Carla, will you guys fight? Do you think they will say yes?
Nope.
That's what. All right, thank you. That's what I'm saying, guys.
And I don't condone that either.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Fight.
You're a matchmaker yourself. What do you think of that?
You can avoid it for as long as you need to.
As a matchmaker, do you want to avoid it though, or do you see it as a cool, fun matchup that'll sell tickets?
Yeah, it certainly depends on the two people. I don't have any problem with it, and I try to put myself in shoes like this. My partner, Turi, with the U of MMA, is a far higher level jiu-jitsu guy than I am. Would I have any problem going into a submission-only match with him? No. Let's go for it. Not a problem. Because, and he's, he's my friend. He's a partner that I've been working with since 07,
Right.
very likely he's going to tap the shit out of me. You know,
Right.
That's okay because it is simply a match, and if we're getting paid for it, shoot, all the better. Let me give him some good competition, hopefully, knock on wood, and and see what we can do with this match.
Like he said, yeah.
But then again, maybe that's an anomaly because it's not my career. This is the girl's career. But I think that one match is not that big of a deal. I also think that there's never going to be a scenario where this has to happen.
Like if it doesn't have to happen, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, if each keep winning, that's one thing. I don't think
if it comes down to a champion and a #1 contender, yeah, they'll do it. I mean, we have the same conversation about T.J. Dillashaw and Uriah.
Yeah,
right.
Or was it GSP
They'll do
and
it.
Rory McDonald.
Tyrone Woodley and Hector Lombard.
And Hector, yeah. There is an amount, a dollar sign that people will do this for, and that would be the case certainly for Felice and Carla. I think they get it, But that mountain is very high up, That's 30,000 feet. The air is very thin up there for those two girls to fight, and I don't think that we're ever going to get to that point. Can a matchmaker or a promoter force that? Well, he has John Jones and Rashad.
Right.
that came to loggerheads. That finally happened. But a title was at stake there.
So you think if it were to be proposed, it would be at a high level?
It has to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Coming out of the season, it's not going to happen. In a year from now, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen,
There's so
meaning
many-
Sean Shelby's not going to want it, or they're not going to say yes?
Wanting it and saying yes is two different things. So, for example, right
Right.
now, with Felice just lost, obviously she's not even considered in the top 4 or whatever. Even if Carla loses, it's like there's no reason for it to happen.
I got you.
Yeah.
So only if it's at stake for like a title
Exactly.
shot or #1 contender.
If it's something that where Carla keeps winning, I'm sorry, let's assuming that
Or if
Carla
there's
wins.
only 2 women in the entire division.
Yeah, assuming let's say Carla wins and Felice keeps winning. Yeah, that's one thing. But if it doesn't need to happen, if one of them's not the champion, I don't think it's going to happen.
Here's the thing,
Right.
too. I don't know that the fans are going to care to see that match as much as Carla and Felice don't want that to happen. I think that those two girls are going to not want it to happen more so than the fans could really care that much, whether
Right.
it does or not. What's the appeal? What's the gimmick, the hook behind that
that
match?
they're friends.
That they're
I
friends,
I don't think
yeah.
it's that big
I
of a
mean,
gimmick
when was the
either.
last time 2 friends or training partners fought when it wasn't for the title? Like, there's no need for them to fight.
You're making me think too hard.
I like, guys, go back again. When you got Fight Pass, or it's worth it to get Fight Pass, to go back and watch Ultimate Fighter Season 4, the comeback season. I believe in the semifinals, must have been the semifinals, Chris Liddell and Matt Serra's team blew through the other team, Rich Clementi's team, and we're in the semis. It comes down to Chris Liddell fighting Dean Thomas, I want to say. Let's just say it was Dean Thomas. I could be wrong. Somebody please go ahead and correct me. They're on the same team. And they, in fact, trained together for the match they're having against each other. It can be done. This being a profession,
We've
career.
even seen coaches versus some of their fighters.
Oh, after the season ends, yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
It happens all the time.
We've
Matt
seen that.
Hamill and Rich.
Tito Ortiz.
Tito as well.
I think it's pretty
No,
cool.
no, it was Tito Ortiz versus Matt Hamill.
Matt Hamill also fought Rich Franklin, I think, as well, right?
But I'm saying, like, the Tito Ortiz was Matt Hamill's
Oh,
Ultimate Fighter
yeah,
coach.
yeah. I thought there was some connection.
Maybe,
All right,
but
I'm
I'm saying,
stopping
like,
now.
It's happened multiple times, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened with a bunch of different guys.
So, it's the thing about not training with somebody that you're going to fight. 99% of the time, conventionally, why would you? So don't bother. But in the Ultimate Fighter house, it's different. Mm-hmm. It's an anomaly of a scenario, and
anything can
yeah,
happen.
who's to
Because
say?
it's specifically a tournament. No matter what, it's a tournament. So, I mean, sometimes you don't really have an option but to fight with somebody on your team or a teammate.
Well, Randa Markos was saying it best. She kept saying, "This isn't a team sport. I'm here for me and only me, and that's how I'm going to train." And I just really admire. If I admired one thing, it was none of the cattiness or anything like that, but it was the fact that even though it was going to stir the pot, and even though she probably didn't want to deal with the drama, which she clearly doesn't like confrontation, she got in the van anyway because. And I honestly believe it was for one reason, and that's to get the training she needed to get before her fight. Mm-hmm. She got in the van, and she went and did sprints and worked her ass off to have those 2-a-days. And I admire that.
Yeah.
If it were me and I had a fight coming up, I would want those 2-a-days. You know what I mean? I don't want an hour and a half of grappling in the morning and then go home and sit in that house all day with no, cell phones or technology and think about the fight and the drama and what she said or he said. So I would hope that I would have done the same thing in that scenario, and kudos to her.
Can I say one thing though?
Yeah.
I really, really, really want to play UFC trivia.
Oh, how fun was that?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest we go to that as well. A very strange coach's challenge this season.
Pettis was hurt.
Anthony Pettis with his knee, so they didn't want to do a physical coach's challenge. So this season on The Ultimate Fighter, they did a mental one, and let me just tell you, we know who won that one. It was Coach Gilbert Melendez versus Coach Anthony Pettis in a UFC trivia game. There was 3 categories, 3 rounds. It was UFC history, The Ultimate Fighter history,
and then a sudden victory.
Although I think they were saying who was the person to become a champion without winning the Ultimate Fighter. I want to say that was TJ Dillashaw.
Who was the champion that didn't? Yeah, that would make sense. I was racking my head about that.
Or somebody who was champion on the Ultimate Fighter but didn't win the actual season.
Wait,
I want to say it was TJ
UFC
Dillashaw.
champion that didn't win his season of
the Ultimate Fighter. You're right.
Because Rashad Evans, Forrest
TJ
Griffin.
Dillashaw never did, so you're right.
Because he lost to John Dotson in that season.
You're right.
It has to be.
I was racking my brain trying to figure that out. Good
Guys,
call.
I think George just got that unanswered question.
George, how much did you have at risk?
No, I did say
Nothing.
I did get the Anderson Silva.
That was so clever, though.
I did get the Anderson Silva question wrong. I guess like 12.
Yeah,
because I was too quick. I was like, I knew I could have figured out if you would have given me a minute, but I knew that I didn't have enough time before they actually show the right answer.
I meant to look that up. You know what I said?
He said 14, guys. He said 14.
No, I would have guessed 12.
Anderson Silva might be that damn good. I
would have guessed 12, and 14's a good guess, but that was like his winning streak. But you got to forget,
that's what I thought,
some of those were non-title. So he still fought within that title, but because he fought at light heavyweight, some of those fights
and the Travis Lutter as well. That turned non-title as well.
Exactly.
Anthony Pettis and Gilbert Melendez both said 9 for the last sudden victory question, but the funny thing is that Anthony Pettis bet all of his points.
He had to.
And
because he was down by half.
Yeah, he did have to. You're right. And Gilbert Melendez bet none of his points because he could have won either way or tied at least.
I mean, nice cameo by former AfterBuzz guest Bruce Buffer.
Yes, Bruce Buffer was the game show host. I feel like Bruce was secretly living out a child fantasy on that episode.
To be Alex Trebek there?
Yeah, to be the Alex Trebek of The Ultimate Fighter.
Alex Trebek of Quebec?
Alex Quebec.
You said Quebec. You said, the Alex Quebec of The Ultimate Fighter.
Okay, go replay it. I think George is wrong.
I'm never wrong.
You're always wrong.
He knocked it out the park, though.
He did. He did. Bruce Buffer was so cool. We should tweet him and tell him that we liked his.
And you are welcome back on any of our UFC AfterBuzz shows.
Please come back.
UFC or The Ultimate Fighter.
We need guests.
Please.
Shut up, George.
No, we have some cool ones coming. They're coming, guys.
Yeah.
Me and Jay are actually going on a road trip on Friday to gather some guests. We can't tell you where,
once again,
though.
knock on wood.
Knock on his head.
So, we've got one of the semifinals down now.
And can you tell us what's going to be next week?
Tell us.
Next week, we will have number 5 ranked Ash the Bash, Aisling Daly against Jessica Penne. We talked about this earlier in the episode already.
Number 4 ranked Jessica Penne. Yep.
Versus number 4 ranked Jessica Penne.
But now, before you guess who you think is going to win, it's time for... Okay, let's try again. It's time for...
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
With that said, who do you think is going to win?
Okay.
Jay, Ash the Bash, or Jessica Penne?
Sure.
I have a little bit of a soft spot for Ash the Bash.
It's the accent, isn't it?
It's not the accent. I'll tell you a story in this short minute. I really don't know. My conventional money says Jessica Penne. I don't know why exactly. Ash, well, Jessica, I think, had a more dominant match than Ash did. But that said, I don't know. It's a very tough call. Yeah. I wish I had a little bit more.
So you think it's gonna be a tie, and it's gonna go into the third round?
No, I don't think so. I think Penne. I'm gonna give it to Penne in 2 rounds.
Okay.
Possibly a third.
What about you?
Okay, Jessica Penne, Ashley Daly. I like Ash. I don't like her better. I'm not going to say that. I have a soft spot for Ash. I love that next week's episode, Conor McGregor comes to visit her and give her a little pep talk, and I think that's so cool. And yes, I'm on the Conor McGregor bandwagon, guys. You heard it. I like him.
I don't think it's a bandwagon. I think it's a freight train going forward.
It's a freight train, and I love me some freight train. Yeah, I'm a big fan. So I have a little soft spot for the Irish, but at the same time, Jessica Penn, in my opinion, deems to be one of the most dedicated and focused. She seems very serious. Every single shot they've showed Jessica Penn, she is stone cold Steve Austin. I mean, she does not make...
Without the beard.
Without the beard.
And with some hair.
And with some hair. But yeah, she just seems really serious. She seems very focused. And you're either focused or you're not. Yeah. You know, there's those people that are kidding and joking and laughing and playing, and then there's the ones that aren't.
You know, it's just occurring to me, too, as you mentioned Conor on next week's episode as the guest star. What is that in terms of foreshadowing for the result of the match? Is Conor's thing there? Is Conor's presence there going to be the thing that drives her over the top and she wins? Because, well, not because it'll make Conor look good. It's not a work, but do they put Conor on there and he looks good because she wins and gets past Jessica? Or is this a setup for a swerve at the end?
I don't know what the angle is. I think I don't know if it's that predictable, Jay. I think he's there, and if she wins, great. They get to celebrate together. If she loses, she has her Irishman to talk defeats with. I don't really know how it's going to go, but I think that him being there is going to light a freaking fire under her ass because he has the UFC belt, the strawweight belt, and he's like, this could be yours. And she's like, Conor! And I just think it's going to be a really cute moment.
Interesting. What's your prediction, George? Oh, thank you for asking. I agree with what you said about Jessica Penn. When they show her, she just looks like a killer. Like she's got that very serious, mean mugging look that Rose, and we talked about Rose having that killer instinct. Yeah. I see the same in Jessica Penn. No to very little emotion. She's not one of those girls that kind of kids around with them, was playing the patty cake, even though it kind of does seem like she was with that little cool kids group. I don't see it. I think she's there with one focus, laser focus.
Yep.
I'm going to go Jessica Penn, knockout, TKO, second round. 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
Oh my God. Okay, so Jessica Penn, you don't know.
Penn.
Oh, Jessica Penn. Okay.
I'm leaning towards that.
You're leaning towards that. Okay, guys, let's wrap it up here. Jay, where can we find you on your social medias?
Hasn't changed. JTan716.
George?
You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Ghermoza. That's GHERMOZA.
That's it?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. You can find me at Daria B28 on all social media. You can find me at my new Facebook page. Go and like it. Daria the Jersey Devil Berenato. Thanks, guys, for watching. Check us out on Sunday at 6 p.m. We'll be recapping the UFC that's going on this weekend. Don't miss us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.